All right. Hey guys, Jonah Stormrider back here with a new strategy video. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys some of the ideas that I've been tinkering with. It's been a while since I've produced a video, so we're going to create a new table so that we can just look at this. I'm calling it the Tau. We're going to do just regular standard DGE bankroll. Default settings for this is fine. $15 minimum because that most casinos now, that's what you're going to find. So we're going to go ahead and roll. So let's just check the settings and make sure that we're on turbo mode so the die rolls don't take too long. Okay, so what is the Tau? All right, well, this is an improvisation of two different strategies kind of blended together that uh, um, what is his name? That Jeremy over at the Craps channel. I forget his name. I forget the name of the Craps channel for whatever reason. Mind fart. But he was talking about two strategies. Was an improvement on the Iron Cross. Okay, and so the way that he had that set up is where you would come out with a bet on the 6 and the 8 and a bet on the field, leaving the 5 off. That would look like if you were doing, you wouldn't do mins. We'll just do a 25 to make it easy. It would be a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 1 unit down on the field you would have 3 units up on the 6 and 3 units up on the 8. So what that would do is 5, you lose $25, right? If a 5 is rolled. If a 7, obviously you lose, but if a 6 or an 8 is rolled, um, you you win quite substantially more. So and so you still are winning something with all of these other bets here on the field. You're only losing on the 5 or the 7. So you sacrifice that. But because you're not so heavy up here on the field as well, I mean, on the 5 as well, um, it's easier to recover after a 7 more quickly, right? And the 5 isn't rolled that often anyhow. So this is a good, so that's one strategy that he had mentioned. Now, another strategy is he said in the video where he talked about Color Up Craps. That's the name of the channel. I need to remember. So in another video he mentioned that there was a couple different dealers that he had spoken to that said the only strategy they'd ever see win consistently over years was the following. So they would have um, something like this inside or even more, right? They would have a pretty solid inside bet going, and then one hit and they would come down. And that one hit would then pay for a then when they came down, so hitting here, you get paid out 280, I believe it is. Is that right? 6 gets 7, 2, yeah, 280. So off of that, and then now 280. So we have 40. So then you could do 66 inside, and your risk is only 44. I mean, you've already covered 40 of it. Now your risk um, is only 16 inside, right? Or 22 inside, sorry. So by going heavy, and this is very DGE in its mentality with a follow up. So DGE, as you guys know, you come out right after the 7 with bets are working because that's 1 and 6 least likely, technically not, or it is. It kind of depends on but you're trying to minimize your risk and protect your bets, right? So 1 out of 6 times on average, you're going to lose that initial bet. But if you can land one hit, then you are able to bankroll a spread across the inside numbers and then start to press and build, lock in, press, alternation, whatever variations of that strategy. And we'll get into what I've been playing with this briefly, but the concept is you go a little heavier immediately to pull back then and fund an attempt to try to capture as much of a long run as you can. Now, we know from crap statistics that you're 80% likely to make it 3 rolls after the 7. 80% of rolls go beyond 3 rolls. So you can keep it up for 3 rolls after the 7 and not sweat it as much. But obviously, then the longer you stay up, the average is just over 8 rolls per shooter. Okay. So once you get up past 8, it's a judgment call if you want to take it down or continue to press, right? So those are some numbers just to have in your head. First three, you're good for 20% of the 80% of the time, and then up to 8 rolls. After that, it starts to become more probable that you're going to hit a 7 out before you see any other number. Okay. So that being said, now we combine the two strategies. This is what's really interesting to me. So we'll start with, this is what I've been doing. I've been very happy with it. We start with 150 on the 6 and 8. That means at a 3-to-1 ratio, we have to be at $50 on the field. Now, what happens? After a hit on anything, in other words, anything but the 7 or the 5, we'll make either $50 on any of these inside field numbers, or on the 2 or the 12, we make some good coin, right? If the 6 or 8 hits, we cover the loss and we make $125, right? Because it's 175. The win would be 175. Okay, so what does this look like? Come out roll. Any one of these hits, we immediately come, and then we just go 66 inside. So now, if you do the math, if we've hit the 6 or the 8, or the 2 or the 12, then we're 6 and 8, we're up 125, and now we're putting $66 of risk. So we're at 60, almost $60, roughly $60 of profit already. So we've locked in $60 of profit, and now we stand a chance to win on 1/3 of the rolls. We start to make money with every hit. So given that fact, so now if we think about it, that's only true if we hit the 6 or the 8, right? If we hit 3, 4, 9, 10, or 11, one of these numbers here, we've only made $50. We haven't lost anything, but we've made $50 straight up. So that doesn't quite cover the $16 of the 66 inside, right? So when that happens, and we'll play this out so it'll be more clear. So if the 6 or the 8 are hit on our initial layout, I'll throw it up there too, for us, so I'm not speaking into the air. So on the come out, if the 6 or 8 is hit, then we immediately go to 66 inside and start pressing right away. But I'll show you what pressing looks like in a second. If one of the field numbers other than the 2 or 12 are rolled, then we're 16 shy of covering our inside bets. So if that happens, so let's say the 9 is rolled. So now the 9 is the point. Let me say the 9 is point, okay? If the 9 is point, then we come immediately down our bets. We go 66 inside. Keep in mind now we have $16 at risk. Any number that rolls. So let's say the next roll is a 5. Okay, so now a 5 is rolled. That's kind of a confusing thing, isn't it? Let's do a 5 is now rolled. So we're going to make $21 on this. Now that $21, now, since we just locked in $21, now our 66 is covered with $5. That $16 difference between the 51 that we won initially and the 66 is now bridged. We've bridged that gap. So we're going to lock that up fully. We're not going to increase. We're not going to press. From that point on, let's say a 5 is rolled again. We press the system. So we would make $21 off that 5. We would press So we would lock up $11, press the 5 and the 9 by a unit each. What that does now, too, is we're going to start to compound the returns while still clicking back more. So with off of $16, we've got. I mean, we made $10. We had $10 profit then. So now let's say we now hit now 11. So now we're up 21 for the hand, et cetera, et cetera. So similarly, if then the 6 is hit, then we'll press up a unit on this, both the 6 and the 8, and we'll continue to press that way. Every time it hits, we press up a unit and lock the rest. Press up a unit for whatever number hit and its sister, and then we lock up the rest. So let's play it out, and I'll talk about any unique scenarios that I didn't just explain or that weren't clear when the time comes, if they arise. All right, so we're doing a come out roll. So we're going to start with our 150. Bets are on, coming out. 5. So we lose the 50. No worries. We come right back up with the 50. Now, since we didn't hit, and since we know that 80% of the time we'll be fine on the first 3 rolls, we're going to go ahead and gamble and roll it again. 3. So now we just made the $50 back. We could go if I was already up a few $100s or whatever, I would roll this again on the 3rd time. If I was already up in profit and this was profit for the day that was at risk. Since it's the very beginning, I have a choice. I can either go 66 inside and just risk the 66, or I can bow out of the hand and wait for the next shooter, or I can just roll this out. Let's roll it out to see how it goes, because I would like to get to a point where we can start to see what the pressing looks like. Actually, instead of that, a little bit more aggressive. Let's be a little more conservative, and let's just risk the 66 inside now, and let's roll it out so you can start to see the betting mechanics of the pressing. Yo 11. Okay. See, that would have served us if we had kept it, but that's okay. 7 out. Okay, so we're down 66. Not a big deal. All right, back up to where we were with the 150 coming out. 6 easy. Perfect. All right. So now with the 6 easy, we made 125 net after the loss was reduced. So now we're up 125. We're going to come down and go back up 66 inside. Now we'll see how the progression works if we don't get a 7. Okay. Nothing on the Now, this is one of several pieces that we're going to piece together. The other strategy that plays the 4 and the 10 from the beginning of the hand, we'll see. I'll show you. So this is not going to be a losing bet right here. It's not included in the 66, the coverage from that, but you'll see how it works. It's actually pretty nice. It's pretty clean. So we're going to be subscribing. We're going to be working a couple different angles here. So let's focus on this one right now, because we're doing building blocks. Because once we get in the habit where it's automatic and we're focusing and we see them as compartmentalized, then we cannot get distracted by what's going on in one strategy and stay faithful to the strategy that we know is working, right? That we know it works if we stick to the strategy. And so part of the reason, just step back into theory for a second before we continue with this hand. So if you're familiar with how to count cards in blackjack, the whole purpose of counting cards is, okay, so if you bet the same number of dollars on the any bet in the casino, bet after bet after bet, and you don't vary bet size ever, then there's no point in counting cards. There's no point in any of that. The whole reason that counting cards works is because when certain outcomes are more probable, you put more money on the table. Are you going to win that bet every time? No. But you put more money on the table in order to capture a win when you're sitting at higher value. That way you can ride out the losses with lower dollars out there. So it's all about bet modulation based on situation. Okay. So that's why I like this strategy, because you start with a high when the 7 is in theory the lowest. I know that's a discussion that people go back and forth on. In theory, it's the lowest. you start with a large bet and then immediately reduce down as soon as you can, right? So that's that bet modulation, and then you can start to kind of build momentum from there. Okay, so now, um, so we're at 66 inside. We're up $59, even after the loss of last hand of 66, right? So we're still in the plus. As if we don't lose any of this, we're already in the plus, right? Which we are. So here we go. All right. Fever 5. Okay, so since now I'm already now this is what I meant by the press and play. So out of the 21 that I just made with that roll, we're pressing the 5 and the 9. So now we're just locking up 11 and putting $10 more at risk. 4 easy. Doesn't affect us. Now that's a second 10. Remember, we're watching for 3 10s in order to start the anchor hedge, which is in one of my other videos, which we will incorporate. That'll be the third piece in this 3-part strategy medley. Total to all table strategy medley for us, maybe we can call it. Okay. Yo 11, 8 hard. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We just hit the 8, so we're going to come up. Now, if we look, we're at 4, 7 rolls in already. So average is 8. Let's see. 8 hard. Now look, we're getting 28, so we're only going to put 12 back in again, and now we're locking up 14 instead of just 9, just like we did right there before. So we're rolling up to 30 and rolling again. 8 easy, beautiful. So we're going to go now up to 36, and we're going to roll again. Now, this is a point too at judgment call. Since we started the hand down, since we had that first early loss, we've got now a total of 112 bets out there. So we're already back recovered. We're 164 up for the day. So we're already up $52. So even if we lose all this, we're still up $52 after all is said and done. So let's roll. Fever 5. So now we go up again on a unit on the 5 and 9. So since that was 28, unlike the first time when we locked up 11, now we're already seeing that it start to exponentialize. So now we're locking up $18 instead of just because we're putting $10 back out there. 3 doesn't affect us. 6 easy, beautiful. Now look where we're at. Now I want to make sure to turn all the bets on because we're always working. I feel like it's folly. I don't know if I've said this before. I feel like it's folly to ever turn off on the come out because the come out, you're just reducing that your probability of hitting good numbers instead of the 7, which can be oftentimes the make or break between a strategy when you're trying to spread out your numbers across the board. So now that being said, we can also, if we're feeling like this is just the shooter's hot, if we're feeling, I think sometimes gut feelings actually play out, right? So if you're feeling it, then I don't see anything wrong with right now coming down completely, waiting for the come out, thinking this shooter's pretty hot. He might throw a come out 7, but then coming right back up, not with this amount, but reset now that we've made some good profit, reset back down to 66 inside, right? So those different modulations, judgment calls, either way, we're already winning. We're already up from starting down as much as we were. We're already up $110 after we lose. If we lose this 7, if a 7's rolled here. So I'm just going to roll with it because it's been a really good roll. And maybe this is just going to keep going. There you go. So now we're going to go back up another $5, locking up more and more. 4 easy. Okay. 8 hard. Now we're going to push up again. 6 more on each of these. Do you see how it really starts to gain momentum? So this is the nice thing because now we've had no money at risk for some time. The frustration that some people have with the DGE is you take these stabs or you put this money out on the 6 or the 8, and then you're sitting there waiting for a long time. So if we can, in our first play on the number on the 7, if we can hit a number and pull down so we're only using house money and then build momentum, then we're making money with big shooters who go 40 rolls as well. And the probability of someone going 20 to 40 rolls is actually much higher statistically over 10 shooters than you would think, right? So this can lead to more fun in the long run as well at the table. Okay, so let's just keep rolling. 6 hard. Now we just locked. Look at the difference, right? We're only going to put $12 out there again, but we just made $37, right? So here we go. And I would never do more than a unit. Why put out 12 and why cut in your profit? Just keep clicking back the profits and just slow ride that roller coaster, that incline. There we go. Pardon me. There we go. Now we go up another 6. I mean, and this is just beautiful. I mean, this is the great shooter. How many shooters do we have here? Roll 18, roll 19. So at 19. So not an incredibly long roll. It's a good solid roll though. And look, we'd be sitting here completely bored if we were just waiting for the 7 and frustrated and giving everybody else high fives, right? But this way, we're playing right with everybody else. And look at this; it just doesn't. Now this is a great way to start. 7 out. Okay, up 389, but we were down 66 to start the hand after the first shooter, right? Okay, so now let's see how it goes again. Let's go. Now you guys get the concept. We'll play a few more hands, and then we'll transition to the other strategy for the 4 and 10. Okay, we're going to come right back up. Don't sweat it because so I always come back up a second time at the same level. If the third come out 7 is hit, which happens very rarely, it will happen. It will happen when you're at the table. So you have to keep your cool. If it hits, you come right back up. You'll make it back. It's not a problem. If it hits a third time, if we get a third 7 right now, we lose this as well. That's when I would double this and come out with 300, 300, 100. Okay, just to start to try to recover from that. 6 high, perfect. All right, so 125. We're not going to worry about that 350. We're going to just play the strategy just like we described because look, we're still up 164. So we're going to do that 66 inside, and we're just going to be patient, slow and steady. Fever 5, so we're going to go up a nickel on each of those and roll it forward. Up a half dozen on each of those. 4 easy. You guys will see. I think when you see the medley of these different strategies, I think you guys are going to love it. Okay. So that was the 1-4. Didn't get any 10s that time. I don't remember if we had a third 10. I think we had. Yeah, we had 2 10s and 2 4s. It looks like on that last round. Okay, on the one before. Okay, so we're still up 118. That's pretty good, and we were in play for these last 3 shooters. So 3 shooters, we're averaging almost $40 a shooter. We've had a come out 7, no problem. We lost our side once when we were already down, no problem, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do again, see where we can end up here. All right. So the 5 is a loss, no problem. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can hit that again. 8 easy, perfect. All right. So now we've recovered the 50 that we lost. And now if we were to do 66 inside, we're up only a few dollars. No problem. No problem. So we're going to go ahead and do it because we're up $3-4 now on this shooter. 3 doesn't bother us, doesn't affect us. Fever 5, we're going to go up another nickel, turn all bets on. On to come out every dime. 4 easy. So that's the first 4 for this shooter. 7 out. Okay. So we made probably 25 or 15, 20 bucks on that shooter. Not 20, 19 bucks. Not bad at all. 19 bucks up is awesome. So we're gonna right back again, like clockwork. No. Okay. So here we go. Bets on. $50, 1-to-3 ratio. Here we go. 10 easy. All right, so 10. So we got 50 on the field. Now we're going to come down. This is good. I wanted this to happen so I could show you guys. So 66 inside. Remember, we're always press unless this is the scenario. If we hit the field number and not the 6 or the 8 as our first roll, then we're going to collect the first hit because we got 16 at risk. Now we don't have anything at risk because we just made 21. So we're up $5 on the hand. And now, as things roll, we'll start to press with half of the win or press one unit up to the sisters and go from there. So we don't care. The 7 out 16, look, we're still higher. We made $15 on the shooter, whatever it was. Yeah, I think that's right. $15 on the shooter. So we're going to come right back up. Super simple, lots of action. Also, good for comps because you're coming out. The box is seeing $350 out on the first roll every single hand, and then continues to see you put other money up there. Okay, so now we're up $39. I'm sorry, $69. Or I'm sorry, $59. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. We're up $125. Hello, because we lost the 50. I got confused looking at the 9 minus 66 from last shooter. So 125. I mean, the 150 made us 175 minus the 50 we lost on the field. We're up 125. So 125 minus that 66 inside, and we are golden. Now we're up to 39. That's where we're at. Okay. If we lose this, we're up 39. Okay, so now since it was the 6 that hit, since it was the 8 that hit, not one of the field numbers, that's why we are pressing immediately. We're not waiting one to lock it up in full like last time, okay? So now we've got the 66 inside. We've just pressed the 5 and the 9 because one of the two sisters hit. And we're going to roll it. There we go. Now that benefited, so we're going to go up again. 5. Look at that. The sisters are working well right now. 8 easy. So now we're up. Oops, up a unit on each of these. And bets are all on and working on the come out. Here we go. Right back up on the 8. Beautiful. Okay. Doesn't affect us. 6 easy. Up a unit. I'd be interested to see how long this goes and how high we get. Look, we're already at 436 up. Is that the third? No, it's the second 10. 8 easy. Beautiful. So we're going to turn all bets on, make sure those they get on. Press again and come out. 10. That's the third 10. So we could do the anchor hedge now. And this might be actually, this could be a good, what do you call it? This may be a time with when 3 10s are rolled or 4 10s are rolled. If you remember, we shift into the anchor hedge. Again, referring back, I love that strategy. So this might be a scenario where I would come down with all of the bets that I have been amping, right, and then after 3 10s, and start my anchor hedge progression, but reduce back to 66 inside so that the anchor hedge sufficiently covers it, right? So that might be how I would roll with this, given this hand. But to not complicate things too much, if you got that and are familiar with the anchor edge, great. If not, if this strategy is new for you and you want to watch that later, then I'm just going to stick to this strategy. I'm going to resist the temptation to bring in other strategies at this moment because we want to just purely focus on this strategy. 9, here we go. So up another unit on the 5 and 9. Up another unit on the 5 and 9. 7 out. Okay. So we're up 400 bucks. It was a little bit of a roller coaster there at the beginning. We had a set come out 7. We had some rough patches. We went down 66 bucks to start. Then we went up $400, back down to 100 up. And now here we are sitting really nicely at 400. 6 shooters only, $400 profit. Not bad. Not bad at all.